Welcome back to ATL Day One. I'm Tenitra. This is Jarvis, and thank you guys for rocking out with us again today and for rocking with the entire Locked On Sports Atlanta network. So, listen, what does that mean? That means you can check us out. You can check out A to Z with Mark Zeno, Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, whether that is on any platform where you check out your podcast as far as the audio piece is concerned. But if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can check us out on
Yes.
YouTube. You can subscribe, you can like, or you can follow us. And always put in the search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Boom. All of us will come up and you can hang out with any and of all of us throughout your day. Now, when we talk about rocking with somebody and we talk about rocking out, Jarvis, no, we always rock with the Braves, but the Braves definitely rocked out and balled out in the series finale against the Mets. You and I talked about this a couple days ago when we
Yes.
previewed the series, that our hope at a minimum was that the Braves got
Yes.
the split and they went
Yes.
there to Queens and they took care of business with a 9-2 win last night. So many positives that we saw in that game, especially one key component there, which is runners in scoring position. That has been a challenge for the Braves this entire season,
It's been
and
the
they
death of
really
them.
got, yeah, they really got
It's been
after
the
it because
death
you
of them.
talk about the
Yeah.
fact that they scored a combined 4 runs in the doubleheader on Tuesday, and they come back and score 9 runs on Wednesday, and they did it from all directions, which was great. And also, Jarvis, we were looking at the starters for this entire series and hoping that we would get a good start out of Ian Anderson, and we got just that because he only allowed 1 earned run, which is fantastic. I believe he struck out 4. Struck out 1, which that's still solid. But also, it may not seem like a big deal, Jarvis, but we know we've also been talking about the pitchers having some challenges with bases on balls. So for him to only allow 4 to walk, I think was huge yesterday as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that was the thing about him. It's okay to allow some walks, but I
Yeah,
think the thing with him, he was able to get out of the situation,
there
whether
you
it be
go.
getting ground balls. He's been doing
Mm-hmm.
really well with that this year, and to get guys going into double plays so he can get out of the inning. And when you get those double plays, it just says something. It just kind of it
Yes.
says something to how you project like a certain sense of defeat on your opponent, right? Because
Yes.
they had a runner on base or a runner in
Mm-hmm.
scoring position or a couple runners in scoring position, and then you get that double play. It's just like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, all that for nothing. We got to start over
Right.
next inning. So for him to go 5 in the third, and give you that good, like I said, only give up 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely great. That's great, and I love what I saw from Ian Anderson last night. And it was just a pitcher's duel, just for
Yeah.
going through those first few innings, and I was just like, man, somebody needs to do something. And you even heard, Chip Carey on the call is like, oh yeah, let's see if we can get some here. Oh, let me see if we can get some here. And I was like, man, stop saying that,
Right. Just
And
let
then
him get
Frank,
it.
like, just let them get it, let it happen, And then eventually, and when they finally, and then when the sixth inning rolled around, he was like, see, I told you. I was like, yeah, if I said it 100 times every inning, yeah,
Right.
I'll
It
say I
would
told you
happen.
so too. Like, come on, Chip. Like, come on, man. Give me a break sometimes. But, Chip's fine. I don't have an issue with him. But I think the Braves, were, they look really good. And when you think about what Heredia did, with the big catch,
Yeah.
it looks like it probably would have stayed in the park if he didn't catch it. But, that was a huge defensive catch. And then to come up with the 2-run bomb to take the Braves to 9
I know.
runs, that put the game away. I was like, there's no way they're coming back in. And then when Darren O'Day comes in the ninth inning, he gives up the solo home run. But, it's like, all right, cool,
Yeah.
And then he,
Mhm.
finishes out the game. And, that's what you like to see
Yeah.
when your regulars or don't have to come in the game when you don't have to see a Kenley Jansen. I love it.
Right.
Like, sign me up for that. I want to see
Yes.
more of Darren O'Day's in the ninth inning because there's not a save opportunity going in. So that's
Mhm.
what I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, and there were a couple of things that you mentioned. Definitely, I would agree with you in terms of also just looking at the defense. The defense has been something that day after day, week after week, kind of game after game, the Braves have gotten quickly back to themselves on defense, right? And so they've been
Mm-hmm.
looking pretty stellar on defense. And something that you said as well when I was thinking about Ian Anderson, and I saw this cool stat, and I was like, wow, Improved to 3-2 over the Mets. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But the 2.6 ERA and 5 starts at New York ballparks. What that tells me is, hey, I have some success when I go to the upstate, right? So I loved
Mm-hmm.
seeing that as well. And like we talked about the 4-game split, but I said, okay, we're gonna be petty because the New York Mets fans are petty. So we're gonna give you a little pettiness here as well. And I saw this
Right,
stat
exactly.
that said with the 4-game split, the Mets' streak of series wins to start the season has ended.
Yes.
And
We
so I
got the
said, hey,
series.
we talked about the importance not just of on the field, but off the field as well, what this could do in terms of the Braves riding the ship and getting them some momentum. And how often have we seen a team get momentum and really hit their stride against their nemesis, against their rival, and in this case against the team that currently sits atop the division, right? This could really be a springboard for them as they head into a weekend series against the Brewers, right? So I just like on so many levels, I think this probably boosts Ian Anderson's confidence because he's getting back to the Ian Anderson that we saw last season. Like you said, we haven't called Guillermo Heredia's name out a lot this season.
Mm-hmm.
So be able to talk about him and what he did in the game last night as well as positive. And as always, when we see 9 runs on the board, we always want to see that that's not just a product of solo shots, right? Not that
Right.
you would see 9 solo shots, but again, you want to see singles mixed in there. You want to see doubles mixed in there because that's really what helps when you look at the runners in scoring position. That helps to advance those runners when we're really getting out there and every opportunity to go to the plate actually counts for something.
And and that's exactly what happened. When you look at Travis d'Arnaud getting his first walk of the season, his first walk of the season
Right.
is bases
His
loaded.
base is
You
loaded,
know,
right?
what I'm saying? I was like, golly, man. So, and then Adam Duvall coming up and hitting a double. And that's what's really promising, right? Adam Duvall and Dansby, seeing those guys starting to figure some things out, and get on some type of tear because we know once Adam Duvall gets on a roll, like he can go. And before, he was traded to the Braves
Yeah.
last year, he was murdering the Braves. He was just like, okay, y'all don't want to give me a contract.
Oh, you're right.
Don't
You
worry
want to
about it. I got
let me
something for
go?
you, Double A,
Okay.
Alex Anthopoulos.
Right.
He was killing the Braves every opportunity he got. So Alex Anthopoulos was like, hey man, come on. Come on over to this squad. So I want to see that Adam Duvall. The Adam Duvall who kind of got a little chip on his shoulder saying, you know what? Y'all thought I was gone, but nah, I'm back, man. And
Yeah.
and I think that, I would love to see Adam Duvall get going on the roll and see where this thing can go because we know once this team gets hot, like this is one of the better teams and runners hitting it with runners in scoring position last year, and that's why it's
Yes.
been so crazy watching them how they've been performing in those situations this year. But we know once they get going, like it can get real ugly for the opposing team. That's for sure.
Yeah. We hope so because as we said, as we always say, yeah, baseball season kind of doesn't get going in terms of the competitive spirit of it until after Memorial Day. But I think because the Braves had such a slow start, that kind of had us looking with, we're going to say slight concern because Jarvis and I were never worried about the Braves, by
Right.
the way, but just slight concern that they were so slow out of the gates, although it was this early. And now we're seeing that that's all it should have been, was just slight concern because we're seeing slowly but surely everybody kind of getting back to form in some way, shape, or form, which is great. And got to give credit to Brian Sticker as well, because again, he came into this series with some serious gamesmanship, right? The way
Mm-hmm.
he ended the last series in terms of putting Kyle Muller on the mound because he looked at the importance of this 4-game set against the Mets and said,
Right.
I'm going to position myself with my starters to be able to, at a minimum, and I'm sure, of course, you always want to win the series. You always want to sweep the series if you can. But at a minimum, what is it going to take for me to walk out of Queens with a split? And the game plan that he put together is what got him the split. Now, he hasn't decided yet who's going to get the start for the opening game of the series against the Brewers tomorrow night. But I suspect that with the wonderful gamesmanship that we saw him show in this particular series, that we're going to see him be a gamesman again. Because what do you want to do, Jarvis? You want to build on this momentum as you head back to Truist Park.
No doubt about it, and that's the thing. Like especially when you got Hank Aaron being appreciated,
Yeah.
over the weekend, all of the events that's going down with
Yeah.
that. I think that this is something they're expecting some huge crowds at Truist Park, so it would behoove them to go and get some dubs, go and get some wins, and start and get on a winning streak because that
Yeah.
baseball is up and down. We know that, and the Braves have been kind of down, mostly. Average. Let me say that average. They've been average,
Yeah.
and below averages too. They can throw that in there as well. I'm just throwing all type of words out there, but the Braves have been all the above. How about that? So
That
I
works.
think that it would be good for them to go ahead and get a win starting on Friday night.
Yeah, I like it as well. And like you said, such an exciting weekend that they're going to have at Truist Park. Always want to represent for Hank Aaron in a good way. And how best to represent him? With a win, starting the series, and a win of the series. Now, when we come back, and for the culture, we're going to talk about somebody who, even if it's being petty, he's always thinking about how he can one up you and win. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about a guy who is definitely winning in the game that he's playing, the game of basketball, but is also been instrumental in helping another school, another HBCU, and another program get some wins as well. So come back on the other side. We'll talk about it in For the Culture.